Welcome, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to Facebook Live on the Facebook group Eckhart Tolle Revolution. I just wanted to surprise everyone with a new schedule for the Facebook Live. We were supposed to meet alternate Wednesdays, and we would have actually had to have this session on the 29th. But I have a personal commitment on the 29th in the evening, so I won't be able to host the Facebook Live. So we are coming to you back to back. We had one last week, and we're having another Facebook Live today. With that, let me welcome who is on our panel today. Lakshmi is here. Welcome, Lakshmi. She came back from a long trip to India, so she's back in the US with us. So welcome back, Lakshmi. Lakshmi is part of a core group of meditators. She also is a session leader in our workshops when we lead workshop sessions on mantra chanting. She has her own meditation group on Tuesdays on mantra chanting, and she hosts a Q&A and spiritual talk on Sundays, right? Like once a month on Sundays.
Once a
Okay,
month. Yeah.
fantastic. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Wyatt is here. Our other panelist, Patricia, is missing. She's running late. She's going to be here 10 past 7 my time, or 10 past whenever we started, 10 past the time that we started. Sri Lakshmi is here. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Sri Lakshmi. Thank you for your divine presence. Grateful for it.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Good evening. So Lakshmi, I actually messaged. So Eckhart had this like he's about to teach a course called A New Earth, right? Every couple of months, he has like some course or the other online that he teaches, right? And so he had kind of like a Q&A about this A New Earth, and this question comes from that Q&A. So this person says, I'm going to paraphrase because I didn't type out the question. This person says that they took up Eckhart's books. They read, they started reading. Once they knew that they need to do meditation, they need to do read Eckhart's books, do the meditations, and take up some of the, like Eckhart has certain practices in the book, right? Do certain practices. So this person says for the next 10 years, they know that to acquire spiritual awakening, this is what they're going to do. For the next 10 years, they're going to do, like they set up a schedule of that they're going to read the book, that they're going to read the books, they're going to set up meditation and do walks in nature and take up some of Eckhart's practices. Then this person realizes, oh, if I schedule it like this, right, every day that I'm going to do this, like I'm going to read your book, I'm going to do meditation practice, like if I schedule it that way, that means I'm just feeding into my ego, right? Like my ego is saying, oh, I need all of this and let me take this up. So this person says, so when he realized that he's just feeding his ego, he said, I think I just need to give up all of this. I need to give up this idea that I need a 10-year schedule to schedule and work on my spiritual awakening. And so he was asking Eckhart, what should he do? Right? I mean, giving up like this, giving up this desire for a spiritual awakening implies that he no longer will be working towards a spiritual practice, right? And so he didn't want to give up, but then he didn't know what to do about this schedule that he had set up in his mind, this 10-year schedule, that this is what he was going to do for the next 10 years. So what advice would you give this kind of a person? I kind of know what Eckhart responded with, and I know what Dr. Joe will say as well. And I think Dr. Joe and Eckhart almost say the same thing, but I'll let you respond and let me tag people online while you are responding. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Thank you.
of course, an excellent question. So from my own experience that I can talk about is that so life shook me up finally, because I was not listening to the subtle whispers that life was giving me, and finally it shook me up with a you know uh, with the diagnosis. And then I started paying attention more and more. And then, of course, Eckhart's books came into my life. The first book that I read is The New Earth. And then I went and read The Power of Now. So, New Earth literally became my Bible because I used to read it every single day. And every time I read it, I would. Something would resonate deeply within me uh, that this is what is needed for my growth. But I didn't set up any timeline like this person questioner is asking. So I didn't set up a timeline. I didn't care at all whether I that spiritual awakening or whatever he's talking about happens or not. I just was focusing on all the things that Eckhart talked about, mainly to stay in the present moment. So that is what I took from his book, is to not dwell in the past and not go into the future and spend time there. So every time you catch yourself that, okay, I'm again dwelling in the past or worried about my future, the minute you're aware, you're already in the present moment. So I started keeping like an account of, like, I get up in the morning, I started noticing how many times am I going into the past and how many times am I going into the future. So I started noticing the pattern that the more aware I became, like, okay, there again I am going into the past, again I'm going into the future. So the more aware I became of my thought patterns, all of those neurons that got wired in a certain way, because um, all years together I spent being a victim, being this helpless person. And so my neurons were, of course, neurons that wire together fire together, so they were constantly firing. Look what this person did to you, look what happened to you, and poor you, you are so good but people always treat you this way, kind of thinking. But now I'm suddenly catching myself, okay, what happened has happened. What am I doing by going there? Can I change anything that happened to me? Nothing. So then I started being more and more in the present moment. And sure enough, first day, within the first half an hour, I think I caught myself maybe like 30, 40 times. I caught myself in the first hour. And slowly I realized that those thoughts started decreasing day by day, and the new wiring has now started. The new wiring is the one of self-compassion and gratitude. So I started practicing gratitude every single day for all that I have, and even gratitude for all the difficulties that I'm going through and difficult people in my life. So gratitude for everyone and having self-compassion. So it's just remarkable how much growth has happened as a result. And I never kept any timeline. And of course, just like this person is doing, where I am, going for nature walks, connecting with nature, and doing regular meditations and affirmations, and doing other practices, whether it is yoga or, hanging out with friends who are also on the same like path like me, and having meaningful conversations of life with them. So everything, I think everything has helped me in becoming who I am today. So I noticed that previously I didn't really have uh, too many friends who were, vibrating at a higher vibration. But the minute I changed, I started attracting so many people into my life who are vibrating at a higher wavelength. So everything started changing around me. So I would advise this person not to stick to any timeline or anything. Just enjoy life, moment by moment by moment. Like Thich Nhat Hanh says, even drinking the tea with awareness, taking shower with awareness, washing dishes with awareness. So enjoy your life, stay in the present moment, because ultimately, present moment, life, and God, they're all the same. Everything is just one and the same. So the more you are connecting to the present moment, you are connecting to the deeper divine within you, and awakening happens as a result. So those are my 2 cents. Thank you.
Incredibly amazing, Lakshmi. Thank you so much. Like, infinite gratitude. What you said about take each routine activity that we are involved in and turn it into a present moment practice is
Yes.
exactly what Eckhart said as the beginning of his advice.
Mhm.
That and Eckhart actually has done a course, and y'all are more than welcome. This is a public service announcement. Y'all are more than welcome to you're more than welcome to join the course with I mean, sign up whenever he does this course called Doorways into Presence. He will walk you through how, even when he makes tea, and we've watched
We
some
have
of his,
seen, I've seen some of the videos that you have showed us. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
through this thing. So he teaches how even pouring tea or making
Mhm.
green tea,
Mhm.
how you watch it bloom and you smell the green tea bloom, right?
Mhm.
So his advice was the same thing. And Patricia joined. Good evening,
Mhm.
Patricia. Thank you for joining.
Mhm.
Real quick before I continue, Jonathan and Josie joined us online. So good evening, Jonathan. Hello to Jonathan and Josie. Thank you for
Hi,
joining.
everyone.
Hello. And then Wyatt said, we attract people similar to the vibrational frequency we resonate at.
Mhm.
He got it from
Absolutely.
what you said, right?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
one of the things that Eckhart said was, so when we say, oh, I am going to set up this 10-year plan on how I'm going to read Eckhart's books on, like, I'm going to read maybe chapter 1, 2, 3,
Mhm.
4, or whatever this plan may
Mhm.
be. Then what Eckhart said is, if people realize when we make that thought that I need to set up a 10-year plan, then we are saying spiritual awakening is not available to me at this moment. Spiritual awakening is somewhere out in the
Yeah.
future.
Yes, yes. 100%. 100%. Yes.
Right? It's 10
Yeah.
years from now or 5 years from now, I'll become spiritually awakened. If
Yeah.
I do this,
Yeah.
then, or some people say, oh, if I turn vegan, or
Yeah.
if I have this yogic diet, or
Yeah.
the sattvic diet, or whatever
Yeah.
it may be,
Yeah.
I'll get spiritually awakened,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Not realizing what you're saying
Yeah.
is it in this present moment is the freedom.
Yeah. They're missing all the, they're missing all the present moments because they are in a future moment.
Correct.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then people have to realize all spiritual awakening is, it's not a lightning fireworks kind of moment.
No.
All spiritual awakening is if you're not spiritually awakened, our thoughts and who we are our thoughts. It's like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
all meditation or exposure to nature or being in the present moment does is it creates a gap.
Mm-hmm. Mhm.
right? We begin to know that we are this awareness. There is this background of awareness. And in that background of awareness, what Eckhart says in A New Earth is content arises,
Mhm.
form arises.
Mhm.
And that form can be thoughts, that form can be emotions, that form can be images,
Mhm.
right? So we, as long as we know we are this background
Mhm.
and we are spiritually awakened,
Yeah, 100%. 100%. The
right?
minute we get up in the morning, I hear the birds singing. So yeah, and I'm once I go for a walk, I see the trees, I see everything. So yeah, 100% I agree with you.
Right?
Images keep coming. Yeah.
Right. So spiritual awakening is if each human being that is here, and I'm positive the people that are here and who are online, Josie and Jonathan, everybody can see that, or they can have moments where they know, okay, this is me and these are my thoughts.
Yeah.
Right?
And
My
my
thoughts are
thoughts
over
are not.
here.
Yeah.
I am not my thoughts.
I'm not my thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
my
me.
thoughts are here and I'm here, and the thoughts are arising. I can shut it up. I can shut down the thoughts,
Hmm. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. They are
So
like clouds in the sky. And I
correct,
am the sky, not the clouds. I am that infinite sky which has no beginning or ending. Yes, the clouds can get very dark sometimes, ready to pour rain sometimes, but
correct.
even then, I am not the clouds. I am the sky. Yeah,
Beautiful,
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
And then what meditation does, my experience of meditation is, and Eckhart kind of uh, referred to the same thing in different manner. To me, what meditation does is it makes me more and more like increase this gap.
Yeah, yeah.
That all my meditation does, and especially Dr. Joe's meditations, the guidance is to go into the void. So you're
Mhm.
closing your eyes and you're looking at, I mean, you're not even looking with your awareness, you're feeling this blackness all around you. And a lot of people can be afraid. I mean, just like as a kid, you were afraid of going into a dark room. People said, oh, there are demons or devils in the dark room. Like my brother used to scare me. Oh my God,
Mhm.
who's going to catch you if you go in that dark room, right? We were
Mhm.
afraid of, but we are in pitch black, dark blackness,
Mhm.
right? The deeper we go in that blackness and that spaciousness, Eckhart calls it inner spaciousness,
Mhm.
is the more we create that gap.
Mhm.
This gap, instead of being just this, it becomes this, it
Mhm.
becomes this, it becomes this. And at some point you can get lost in that gap. Like it's infinite, like that experience. And that is the love that we have for meditation. The obsession with me and meditation is how much can I get lost in that blackness,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
In that the depth of that blackness. That's
yeah.
the what they say, intoxication of it. Like
Mhm.
people say, oh, why are you so like exuberant joy that, okay, let me stop everything. Like my son, I'll be in the middle of something. I say, no, I'm going to stop. I'm going to go meditate, right? Until
Mhm.
I meditate, I am not going to continue my day or something like that, right?
Mhm.
Like, what is this intoxication? You know, it almost is like that person that has that heroin or this thing, drug addiction, right? What
Mhm.
is this addiction to meditation?
We
The
because we are
addiction,
getting high on God.
exactly.
Yeah,
Without any exogenous, this just like
yeah,
Dr. Joe says,
yeah.
without any exogenous substance, you're experiencing. Once we hit that blackness, is when we are one with the divine, and the moment we are one with the divine, we are like ecstatic. There's exuberant joy in that one with the divine, and that's what you are searching. I mean, that's what people are searching for, is that feeling of exuberant joy. without any doing ayahuasca or doing any psilocybin or mushrooms or whatever. You're just happy, right? You're joyful within. So, and then the other part to it, what I feel, one, it does that, it brings the gap, right? The other thing is it lets me see my own insanity as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
lets me see, lets me see, I'm like observing my thoughts, and then I'm looking at my limit. And that's why I wrote a book on limiting beliefs. It makes me look, okay, what is my own insanity? Like, what am I thinking? What is wrong about, even till today? I mean, it's not like, oh, I'm so spiritually awakened that I don't have insanity, meaning I have some limiting, I discovered some limiting beliefs. I know Francesca is online and Patricia is here, so I'll give them some. Good evening, Francesca. Thank you so much for joining. But isn't that true that we can see, and I'll give you all an example. We were doing this entangled meditation, and I hit this piece of wire that is this thing. I put my hand here, and in putting my hand here, last Friday, we were doing that entangled meditation, right? Group meditation. And I put my hand on this wire, and immediately I had this epiphany that I have this limiting belief that Brahmins cannot be good entrepreneurs. Brahmins are more the educational, and if anybody wants to know who Brahmins are, in India, there's a caste system. Brahmins are people who used to be, like, years, I'm talking about 10,000 years ago or 6,000 years ago, whatever. There's this caste system, and Brahmins are supposed to be people who are priests and spiritual. They follow the spiritual path, right? They're supposed to be the priests in India. Like, we have Kshatriya, Brahmin, what is it? Shudra, they're different caste
Anyway,
systems, right?
you got your point, Poonam.
Right?
It's a caste. It's a caste which priests are. Yeah.
They're mostly priests. And my this thing, I think, because I'm from the Brahmin caste, most Brahmins are very educational. Like, they follow they're very, like, most of the professors and all that would be from the Brahmin caste, right? Like, they follow the educational path a lot. So
yes, that's certainly a limiting belief that I hear a lot. I hear a lot from people that that people from that particular caste are not good in as entrepreneurs. Is a limiting belief that many people hold.
People have,
yeah,
right. And the reason why I hold that belief is both my brother and my father started a business, and my father failed miserably in his business and went bankrupt. My brother has not been successful. So somehow, out of that experience, I know as a child, from my father's experience, I've derived that limiting belief. And I know where the limiting bit, but the fact came, like, I hit this wire after so many years, it suddenly appeared. So you kind of see your insanity, right? So with that, I know Patricia is online and Francesca is here. So here is what we are discussing, Francesca. Then thank you, Lakshmi. Beautiful, beautiful insights. We are discussing a question. How many people listen to Eckhart? He did a New Earth, like a Q&A for his course, A New Earth. Did you all listen to that Q&A? Okay, one person in that Q&A talks about, oh, I know to get to the spiritual path, I'm going to read Eckhart's books. For 10 years, I'm going to read Eckhart's books, go for walks, and do meditation and do some of Eckhart's presence practices, right? But then he also realizes the insanity of the decision that he has a 10-year plan to be spiritually awakened. So Lakshmi and I are talking about what spiritual awakening is actually, and what we do, right? So Francesca, since you joined before Patricia, I'll let you speak to it. And then Patricia, you understood the question, right? I don't know if you watched I gave you the link whenever I think this was past Monday or last Monday. I don't remember when. Yeah, it was 2 weeks back. This Q&A was posted by Sounds True for his course in New Art. So Francesca, you want to speak to it? If you remember the question, and what would be your advice to this person? And that's what this person says. Eckhart, I see the insanity of it. I think I'm feeding my ego. Should I just give it all up? And then Eckhart has advice for him. Go ahead, Francesca. Thank you.
Yeah, I remember the question because that was the one that stood out to me. And the reason why it stood out to me, it's because every part of me wanted to jump in and say, no, 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 you know. That's just by default, the ego, you know, and its excitement wanting to do that. That being said, I recognize immediately that this person was, you know, just like actually majority of people who have followed the spiritual path on the planet. And I believe this is part of probably like a misunderstanding that goes all the way back to beginningless time, is that they believe and because we were taught this as well too. And our nervous system actually ended up training us to do it in the process of being taught, but a lot of it is collective. It was how we were taught to do, you know, our spiritual journey or connect with divine, our spiritual path. We were taught to look towards the external. And so, for example, you know, go to church, read the Bible, learn all of these things. So it was all external way that we were taught to, oh yeah, you will become, you know, the Jesus will come. We were taught he was something external. It's a man, you know, like God, the man in the sky, right? So everything actually pointed to external. As a result of that, I'm aware many Buddhist monks, for example, and even, you know, people that I've observed doing, you know, trying to do inner work, you know, in different sanghas and just all around the world actually get stuck right here because they're reading all the books, studying with the different teachers and ordinates and all of these different things. But at the end of the day, when it comes to showing up in our day-to-day life here in the horizontal dimension, right? So we have this, you know, so they end up gaining knowledge, essentially, is what happens, instead of wisdom, which we know comes through self-realization, self-examination. So for example, when we experience, you know, a trigger, or, you know, we read something online and it triggers us, you know, by default, I mean, this is my obsession, but by default, I'm aware that, oh my goodness, I use this as a mirror. It's showing me something about myself. Why am I become triggered? Why am I becoming triggered, right? It's showing me the parts of me that needs healing, that needs evolving, you know, it needs attention. And so I've used everything in life to take a look at myself and, you know, allow it to sit, become present with it, and then allow that, you know, to reveal the wisdom, because this is why I say it's the darkness that holds the most light, because it is by sitting with the darkness, which is, you know, that trigger, shadow, whatever we want to call it, however it shows up, right? That we, you know, by through self-examination, being present with it, you know, we eventually experience that pure awareness, right? And we become fully present with the truth of what's happening. So with religion, what we've been doing is like me. I remember when I was younger, my desire was to look, I was searching for God because I wanted to have a conversation with him, when I thought it was just, you know, a him, a guy in the sky. And so I would go to every single church. My God, I would try to memorize as much as I can of whatever the pundits and everywhere, you know, the priests they were teaching and so forth. And I would be like, oh my God, I followed the 10 commandments. I got baptized, I think about 5 times. And I remember every time the priest would come, to the third country. I was born in Guyana. So every time the preachers and stuff, they would come, I'd be like, oh my goodness, I followed the 10 commandments. I did all of these things. And I still haven't become Jesus because I wanted to have a conversation with God. I needed to become Jesus. And so I kept doing these things, all of these external things. And that in itself, the mind becomes hooked, and it becomes hooked to, it becomes identified with all of these ideals, all of these, essentially they're limiting beliefs, right? It hooks the mind. And before you know it, you're reading 100 books and nowhere anybody, until now, nowhere anybody ever says, hey, you don't need to read that book. Actually, go look at a Facebook post, for example, go look on Facebook. Something triggers you, start there. Start your self-examination process, because self-examination leads to self-realization, and that's wisdom. That's a difference between wisdom and intelligence, right? And knowledge, sorry, right? And so this person that's asking the question is a profound, powerful question, because unfortunately, they've kind of collected a lot of knowledge from doing, listening to all the books and all of the talks and such. For me, where I'm at now, for example, when I listen to Eckhart, actually, every time I've listened to Eckhart for many years now, it's always been an experiential process. Not I'm listening to all these words and, or memorizing because, oh my God, I'm going to go work on this or anything like that. It's experiential. So I actually experience his talks. And the reason being is because of the way in which, I've been doing. That's why I call it inner work, right? Because it's within, it's about looking within, it's self-examination. And that's the misinterpretation or, the misunderstanding, unfortunately, that has shaped the parts of the horizontal structure that is, struggling. Like, how many eons have we been in this cycle of suffering? Over and over again, we've been feeding our own suffering over and over again since beginningless time. And that's because we've been caught in, as we were aware, from dependent origination, how we interconnect, how thoughts interconnect. We are aware of, the energy, the frequency of when we think about something or when we feel something, what happens, right? And so we are, we unfortunately, because of how we were taught to, I don't want to say do the spiritual journey, because even that doesn't sound right to me anymore, because it's about remembering, it's about coming back home, right? Because we've separated so much from the divine essence, the beautiful I am, that which we all are, right? We've separated so much because we've become so tethered to the external way of everything that we kind of I say we lost our way home, many of us, right? I was at one point too, right? And so yeah, the searching, for that which we already have is what's happening here. This beautiful being is, searching by, listening to these talks, reading. Nothing is wrong with the talks, like I said. It's like it's very beautiful, it's powerful, and it's experiential. But the key is to start somewhere from within you. Like, forget all the books, just listen to Eckhart and allow yourself to feel. He transmits. Eckhart transmits. He doesn't speak, right? He's like an emanation of the Christ, that beautiful presence, that essence. So allow yourself to receive what he, not with the mind interpretation, because the mind will do that. Oh, I think Wyatt is saying there, sorry, I just read the comment, religions are filled with stories. Yes, and those stories are actually meant to point us in the right direction. I actually just shared that with somebody. We went to Kirtan a couple of days ago, and she's like, oh my God, we were talking about the Hanuman Chalisa. And I'm like, the person was sharing different stories about the different deities. And I'm like, and at one point somebody said, oh my God, and is that the, is that what we're praying to? Because the story is very graphic. It talks about murder and all of these horrific things, right? And I'm like, no, in that case, in my mind, I separate, because I'm like, yeah, no, not we. And that's not what, and then I explained to her, for example, Hanuman, right? It's, the way in which Hinduism was passed down, unfortunately, again, misinterpretation, it was the stories, the way in which the stories are told. It speaks to it does speak, about violence, and the frequency of energy that those stories hold. That's what's transmitted to the people that are trying to learn, oh my goodness, they're looking for God, like religion, right? It kind of messed everybody up, pardon me, in this regards, so it was transmitted, the misinterpretation, and that's what people have, they cling to, and they latch on to, and those are, that's part of the foundation of a limiting belief. So I was explaining to my friend, I'm like, actually Hanuman, represents, he's the monkey, and it represents the higher aspect of the egoic state of mind. And the story essentially means, and I'm explaining the story set, means something completely different than what's being taught, right? And the same thing with like Ganesh, which is the subconscious mind, right? And a lot of the religious story, doesn't matter which religion actually. This is part of the heart of some of, what I've came to realize through my practice and my processes. I actually checked I don't want to say I checked each religion. It kind of revealed itself when it was time. But it's because when I was younger, like I mentioned, going back, so this is where the two stories meet. When I was a child, I wanted to be Jesus, and I went the external route, didn't happen. And then I remember later on, many years as an adult, I started going into Algonquin, hiking and such. And that's when I would feel like, oh my goodness, I'm experiencing something. It feels like God, but I still didn't know. Fast forward to
God
now.
bless you. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. Fast forward to now. Oh my God. Nothing external. If anything, what I do is I use those external experiences as mirrors to when I come into, I don't want to sound like that, because if I say when I come into wisdom, it sounds very egotistical, and that's not where it's coming from. When the self-realization happens, it's kind of like a check, I get to check in. It's like, oh, okay, this is what this means. So for example, when my friend gifted me a picture of the Tibetan Tenka, and, for example, I saw, there's like an elephant, a monkey, the monk with the right away, I was able to put it together because it made sense to me. Because it's like, oh my God, yeah, in the beginning of the path, the egoic state of mind is running the show. It's ahead of the subconscious mind, which is black. So meaning it's not yet illuminated. It's not yet in a state of pure awareness, right? And there is the monk, pure awareness, technically, right? Which becomes the Buddha. But right now, it's the monk trying to even catch the elephant. And the monkey is running the show in the front. And so, this path goes along eventually, and so, yeah, that's kind of how I use what I learned from my experiences. So because I was Hindu, I was Muslim, I was so many versions of Christian, like all the different denominations. I was, so like I was born baptized Catholic. And so, yeah, I tried all of it. And in the end, what I ended up learning is all the religions are exactly the same. They just have different ways through stories and culture of sharing the wisdom itself that they're trying to share is exactly the same. It's just, misinterpreted, and it's misinterpreted based on egoic state of mind, because that's what, the mind does when it's undeveloped. That's what the mind does when it's, untrained. When our nervous system is dysregulated and so forth, right? So yeah, to the beautiful being asking the question is, I a different way to verbalize that is pretty much you're looking in the wrong direction, you know, looking outside of yourself for that which you already have, you already are. The entire universe, all the wisdom you will ever need is within you. All you need to do is sit down, quiet the mind enough, which is where meditation is, allow yourself, you know, to experience the moment you start to experience those pauses, you know, it gets bigger and bigger. And whatever it is that you're sitting with, you sit in that fire, whatever it is that's arising for you, the wisdom, when you're ready and there's enough space, the light will come in. And that's wisdom of the truth of what's essentially, you know, it will, everything. I always say there's like a sacred order to this unfolding, because the next step automatically arises on its own. It is true. You know, when the student is ready, the teacher will come. Essentially, that's what that speaks to, because literally that's what happens. The journey, the path itself reveals itself to you as long as you keep, I don't want to say you keep doing the work, but it does require inner work, right? Inner work is retraining the mind and teaching us, you know, basically we're retraining ourselves, because we were taught to look outside of ourselves for things that we actually already have, that we've forgotten about, that we've, you know, become split, we've separated so far away from the essence of who we truly are. And sitting with ourselves in that presence, you know, we essentially start to realize and remember this light.
Incredibly amazing. Thank you. No,
Yeah.
beautifully conveyed the message.
Go on and on, but I kind of had to, like, you know.
Eternally grateful, Francesca. Thank you for what you've stated. When you said self-observation is the self-realization, that's exactly what Eckhart stated towards the end of the advice. He said, you have to start to look at, you know, Lakshmi actually stated the same thing. And what Eckhart said is be present in your daily life, like for each activity. But then once you become present, also look at your behaviors and your how you're acting and reacting to the present moment. And that will show you, that will be more enlightening. I mean, I'm paraphrasing here. Yeah. That would be more enlightening than searching for, like having the 10-year
Oh my
plan.
God, yeah, because the books you read and you become lost, and that's what happens, right? You can read and read and read, and you'll never feel that, you know, it's enough, because the next thing happens, you become triggered. It's like, oh my God, after all of that work. Exactly. But what you don't realize is, yeah, you've dedicated all of your life force energy to an external means, to, you know, identification with something that is outside of you. And yeah, that's not.
So, you know, just like what Eckhart says, what Dr. Joe says, the way Dr. Joe puts it, he says, mindfulness is not meditation. We meditate to be mindful. And the mindful is to break the habit of being ourselves, which is break the habit of the action and reaction and constant reactivity, the frustrations, the anger. How much can we reduce the refractory period of our frustrations and anger?
And that's the heart of, sorry, I was going to say, and that's the heart of where the nervous system work comes in, right? Right. Yes. And working with the amygdala and all of that. Yeah, right. Learning, teaching ourselves to respond, and by calming that pain body and understanding it, the wisdom comes through and it dissolves the pain body, because now it's not there to get angry or triggered or anything, right? And so, yeah, you're in a new state automatically. You know, yeah. Sorry.
Let me read.
I could talk about this topic all day.
Thank you. So I'm going to read Wyatt's posts here, because other people that are online are not looking at what is being shared on Zoom. Wyatt says, one with the divine is the fifth dimension. Religions are filled with stories, the purpose of which are to convey messages of timeless wisdom. People only learn when there's a breakthrough, a moment when they make a committed decision to grow, expanding their conscious awareness through meditation. Yes. The elimination of a self, hate transcends the darkness and recalibrates our process upon the road less traveled. Die to our ego allows us to transform. With that, let me go to Patricia. I know it's getting late. Patricia, you may log off at the top of the hour, so I'll let you speak to what this question is, and then we'll continue. Go ahead, Patricia. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I mean, there is a value in having a plan to get somewhere. But then,
You know, Patricia, when he stated what he stated, I just thought of you. This sounds so like the Patricia of 3 years back, that she wants like this plan of how to become spiritually awakened. That I need to read these books, I need to do this, and now I'll be spiritually awakened for the rest of my life. That was Patricia of 3 years back. So now you can give your wisdom of what actually happens and how you discover spiritual awakening. Go ahead. Thank you.
perfect. Yep. So that was my experience because since my mind was so active, constantly running, I almost had to feed it something. So it can be busy, you know, taking me where I plan to go. In the meantime, life was happening today, now. So kind of, in a sense, I needed to fool my mind because it just couldn't figure anything out. Like, how can you touch presence? How can you be present if what you are, who you are, a million questions and confusing answers, back and forth, and obviously. But I think there is a value in starting the journey or having, and then once you on it, kind of let go. Like Francesca said, once you start walking, almost the path appears. Yeah, you could have plans. And I think there's this wonderful saying, life happens when you make other plans. So honestly, but you gotta have, I mean, at least that was for me, something to anchor me. So in the beginning, it was very hard for me to just sit like Eckhart. So he was anchoring me when I was sitting and listening to him, or I was reading his book. In that moment of reading, I was being anchored, but then I needed to do other stuff. So I think the more we do, we are in the presence of either like videos or live, which is incredible, or even the written word of someone that it's in the presence. It's like the candle that lights another candle kind of situation, that at least in that moment, and then we experiencing this presence, this being awakened, being aware in the moment. And like you said, now you are almost like you want to be there. So you're going for a meditation that takes you there, because now you find your tool that works for you and you love being in that state. And you know that we have responsibilities in that 3D world. So you understand now through your awakening that takes a lot of your energy, the ego mind, and something. So you are now aware, consciously bringing yourself back to that space. And then I'm sure the more you are in that space, your body, your energy feels changes. So you actually starting to be, like Eckhart said, that 1 foot with presence and 1 foot with the events of life happening. So you are able to imbue everything you do, every interaction with another human being, of nature, with that presence. So in a sense, you're still continuing the journey, still, living in time and stuff, but you are more also in the dimension of just now, which is existing, and it makes all the difference. tremendous difference. And in the beginning, I was also very upset with myself that I was being lost again by my mind and taking me back. It was like a struggle, constant struggle. And finally, okay, it's difficult for me. So I found some physical exercising or even chanting. I needed to keep, it was hard for me to just say, okay, I'm just gonna sit here and be present, because, or if I, like we talked about, Eckhart shows making a tea. For me, it was a struggle to be present while making a tea, because I knew it, like I did it so mechanically. I made it so many times that, so my mind's like, that's boring. Like there's nothing for me to do. And I have to get busy with doing something else. So it couldn't just making tea, because it was just incredibly boring. So, you know,
That's hilarious.
yeah, I would just bring it. But now, like you, I find more and more value in just, I actually crave to go in the void. And even if I'm not 100% successful in, I mean, I get there much quicker right now, but I still observe my thoughts. But I'm not criticizing myself for having those thoughts anymore, but just letting them go much easier. So I'm not sticking with them that much. But it is funny that right away, that person, the questioner, had the plan and was very proud of the plan, and then realized that that's my ego setting this whole thing. But that was maybe his spiritual awakening in this moment. So he needed to make a plans to realize that that's might be not the way to go for him. But yes, there's so many ways. I love everybody's path to be so different, because we all bring this new experiences to the consciousness. Because I think it's Carolyn Mays that said that, or maybe someone else, that each human, how is it? That each human is a god wrapped in human flesh, or like each, person is a god wrapped in human flesh. And for me, in certain moments, it really allows me to be present when I realize that we are all that divine beings of consciousness, and it's just wrapped in that form through which we experiencing that reality. But we're not just here to just experience it. We just realize that we are, and we don't have to do anything or get anywhere. Just the value of pure beingness. It's so amazing. And everybody, I think, gets to if you have that moment and experience this beingness without naming it, it's incredible. But body, yes, body is used because you can touch things, and like Eckhart says, this is also a way. So you can get that spiritual awakening just by breathing in this moment, right? You don't need 10 years to breathe, because you can only breathe in here, or you can listen to your heart. I find that's amazing too, when you put your hand on your heart and you actually feeling it's beating. This is the present moment, because you cannot feel your heartbeat yesterday, or you cannot really feel it tomorrow. You honestly realize that heart is beating, and it's in you, and you're part of this aliveness. I don't know. So yes, we apply making plans and getting to our goals, because that's what the life is about around us. People set up goals and then get there with different steps, and that's how managers do it. That's why coaches do it. You know, you want to think that result and then you get there. So in physical world, you know, it takes time. It takes time to read a book, you know, but it doesn't take time, like Eckhart says, to be present, because you can do it instantaneously.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Patricia.
Thank you.
Infinite gratitude. Thank you so much for what you shared. And one portion you shared was, actually, I'll talk about the last thing you shared is one conscious breath. And that's one of the things that Eckhart advised this person to. You can just take a breath and be conscious of your breath. And that would be spiritual awakening. And what Lakshmi and I talked about is all spiritual awakening is that we become one with our thoughts when we are not spiritually awakened and we are driven by the thinking mind. The moment there's a gap, right? And that's what Eckhart said too, mind the gap. He gave an example of in London, there's a subway, and sometimes there's a gap between the platform and the subway cart. So when the doors open, there's an announcement that says, mind the gap, mind the gap. And that's all. Like, as long as we can keep our gap between thoughts, emotions, images, feelings, sensations.
We don't identify ourselves with
Right. With them, and we separate it, and we can observe the thought, then we are awakened already. That's awakening already.
And
Then
you can
in
use
the then in the big
Mhm.
go ahead.
Sorry. You can use the question of Rupert Spira, which I really, really love, that worked for me very well. Like, on whose behalf are you angry?
Correct.
So
Correct.
you're realizing you're feeling something, or you're realizing you're thinking something, like, on whose behalf?
Right.
And right there, you don't even have to answer. You feel like you're realizing the answer, that there is beingness,
Mhm.
and there is that feeling that it's not you,
Correct.
right? It's really, you're realizing that's not part of you, really. It's just something passing by.
And that question is not like very superficial that you can ask on the surface, on whose behalf? Oh, on my behalf. No, you have to go very deep and go on whose behalf. And whose behalf are you feeling this sensation? On whose behalf? Like, then go, oh, I'm feeling angry and I have like a flutter in my stomach or some kind of pull in my stomach or whatever the angry feeling is, right? And then I'm feeling heat in my body, and then more of on whose behalf are you feeling the sensation? And the more you go deeper and deeper, and then you finally come, I'm just this awareness. We give the word awareness, I'm just this formless. I love Eckhart's words, which says formlessness, right? I'm just this formlessness. That is who I am in my essence, kind of thing. The other great pointer you gave, Patricia, is like, I talked about meditation. In yoga or yogic sciences, they talk about, I don't know exactly, but there's a kapha body, which is very earthbound. There's vata, pitta. I think vata is air and pitta may be water, if I'm not mistaken. But when you're vata, or pitta may be fire. When you're fire and air, the people like you, right? You cannot sit down. Like, for me to sit in one place and just sit my body down, right, is very easy, because I'm very earthy. Like, and they say people with wide hips, right, are like that. They are very kapha bodies. They can sit, right? So for me, if somebody says, sit in meditation, okay, I'll sit, close my eyes, and I'm gone. Right?
It's not
No
true.
problem. No problem. No problem at all. You sit, let's say, hours together. Yeah, I'll close my eyes, sit. I'm very comfortable in that. But for people like the fire and air body, you have to use some physical method, right?
To ground myself.
To ground yourself before you can sit. And Dr. Joe says, right, this is like training an animal, like the horse that bucks and kicks. Your body is gonna buck and kick more than my body.
Yeah.
My body does not buck and kick, but your body is going to be so uncomfortable sitting down. Initially, 3 years back, I think now with practice, and this is the practice, right? In 3 years, you've trained your body, then now very easily it sits. But talk about 3 years back when I said, do meditation. For the longest time, you would resist me saying you need to do meditation, right? I would keep saying you need, I mean, how many people do I keep saying you need to do meditation, but they don't, the capacity to make your body just be still, right? Stillness is the language God speaks. Everything else is a bad translation.
Yeah.
Is what Rumi and Eckhart said. But that stillness is what is needed, and that's the stillness that you can bring to your body. And for the vata, the air and fire body, you cannot be still very easily. And I've seen so many people that, like my roommate at my retreat, right? She had to do so much physical. She would like go up and down, like go from my room to somewhere else to come back in room. So I'm like, I just want to sit. I just want to, after I'm done with the whole 12-hour day of meditation, I just want to shower and just lay down, right? I don't want to go anywhere or walk around or go here, go there in the evening. I just want to stay. But her body is like, I can feel that fire and air, right, in the body. And run up there, run up here, go do this, go do that. I'm like, okay, you're more than welcome to continue. Go ahead. I'm going to just go or take a bath or something. Be quiet. And like you're hugging and everybody's hugging and there's so much interaction with so many 2,000 people, right? Out of that, you know, so many people, you're hugging them and this thing, you're done with the hugging the whole day, 12 hours, right? You just want to be with yourself now after 12 hours of all that, right? So it was
beautiful how we are all different, you know, but the best thing is that each one of us can find a method because it's abundance of ways to get there. And it, like Francesca said about religions, each point to the same thing.
Right. And I think it's 144 or it's either 140, I think it's 144 because that's the number that comes up in Indian mythology. Sadhguru said, I think Shiva, who is considered to be the person that brought yoga to India, right, is like almost like the first human form, or maybe the first alien form. I kind of think Shiva is like a blue being. Krishna and Shiva are blue beings. Probably. They're actually alien entities, right? You know, when we talk about Greys and Palladians and blue beings, I think they're blue beings because their bodies are talked about as though they're very dark. And I think it's not dark, it's bluish in color. Right? You can take blue as dark, right? Like that you're dark skin. So he may be the first blue being, and he's supposed to have brought yoga. And he says, Sadhguru says that Lord Shiva says there are 144 ways of awakening, and that 144, 108, 112, some number. There are 112 ways of awakening. That number has a significance, right? That 108, 112. Like they do 108 beads on the Rudraksh. Like when we are supposed to chant mantras, the 108
Yeah,
times
100.
you would
Yeah.
you,
Because
you
for like
chant
in
it.
Buddhism, they say it's 108 center around the brain. That's what each. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And
Also, I think it's the distance between moon and the earth. There's a lot of significance to
Different.
108.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, there was something he said like diameter of the sun is 108, or that 108 has some significance. I don't know what that mathematical significance is, but I think we may have 108 chakras. We talk about 7 or 8 or 12 chakras in our body. He actually says that there are 112 chakras and 4 of them are outside. So that's why they're 108. 112 minus 4 is 108, right? That's why 108 has a huge significance in our body. But so if he says there are 108 ways of awakening, just imagine your kind of awakening is, let me physically first do something, tire myself out, then I can make my body sit. Whereas Poonam is okay with sitting the moment she wakes up. It's okay to sit, right? So people different, just don't think that if this person is doing so and so, I am going to be able to do so and so as well. You have to figure your own.
You know what also helped me, I think, and maybe that's just because I believe it helped me. It's almost like the placebo thing. But following Anthony Williams' medical medium protocol, because I honestly, when he talks about heavy metals and all the stuff in your brain, you know, like once you physically, that's how I feel, removed some of them, I naturally am more peaceful because my mind is not that crazy anymore, which was the electrical pulses is not
Second,
being able to get because they were blocked. And it made sense to me. It
right.
just, and I actually feel right now, it kind of probably was both, you know, me doing this way, but also using additional tool, what is the metal detox, heavy metal detox smoothie,
Right.
that it helped, and celery juice, and you know, doing
Right.
like, I remember you mentioned too when I first started, and that was, I think Kelly too was saying that it's very hard to meditate when you eat heavy food, because the digestion and everything is your energy becomes very dense in lower chakras, because that's where the energy is needed to break it all, you know, down, instead of be lighter. And like when you meditate, you kind of have to be empty on those daily bodily, you know, bodily work. So
Right.
that might also help.
But Patricia, what I would say is, go ahead, Francesca. Sorry.
I was just going to say I resonate. Yes, I agree with Patricia that there's different tools when we're doing this that I think it's important we need to use. Like for myself, I use music, mantras, sutras, you know, all the different so for in terms of frequency, sound. And then I also did you know, supporting. So the path that I was doing, I was supporting it, learning, you know, the tool would kind of reveal itself to me. And so I would do different things like cleanses, of course, makes a huge difference, I believe. So I kind of like what Patricia is saying there, because I'd forgotten about mine. I did do in the beginning of my journey, I did do multiple cleanses. In fact, I was cleansing so much, I went through the phase where I was vegan. I was like, oh my God, I never thought this would happen, kind of thing, right? So yeah, supporting, you know, our well-being, our body, everything along the way, it kind of all, yeah, weaves itself together as we continue, as we heal and we evolve, yeah, into higher states of consciousness. Right.
The one thing I would say is, I was telling Lakshmi and whoever was, Patricia, you may not have joined until then, but I was saying how building our awareness actually helps us see our own insanity, which is our own limiting beliefs. One of the limiting beliefs that I gave up during the 10-day retreat was So I used to have this pain in my calf, right? I've had it since 2017. And slowly I started to build this belief that I needed the celery juice for that calf muscle to be relaxed, because celery juice has sodium cluster salts that help with the, it's like a natural electrolyte, right? And then I realized so what happened during the retreat is, because you're in a resort, but we were in the hotel or the resort that's next to the main campus, the main ballroom, where the ballroom was, right? So we had to walk from our resort over to the second resort, I mean, the main resort, and actually go into the ballroom, right? And then, of course, we start the thing at 5 o'clock in the morning. Like I would wake up at 3:45 in the morning, shower and brush my teeth, do my stuff, shower, and then go drop off my bag by, so this 5 o'clock at the door of the ballroom, so that I could reserve my spot, right? And then I would go walk back. So I'm walking from my room to the ballroom, then walking back to the beach to do the, every day in the morning, we had 7 walking meditations. We would start at the beach. So and I would take off I didn't want sand to get into my shoes. So I would take off my shoes, so walk barefoot from the ballroom all the way to the beach and walk barefoot back, right? So I used to have this limiting belief, and this is what I'm saying is, with that spiritual awakening and that quietening of the mind, you'll start to break down your limiting belief that I could not walk, that I had this limiting belief. I had to do this protocol. I had to do the celery juice. I had to do the lemon water celery juice to keep my calves loose, right? So that it wouldn't hurt. And then that I couldn't walk too much. So I would protect, like my physical activity was being very protected, right? I would really watch how much I would walk and all that, right? These 10 days taught me, with the amount of walking I did, and 10 days, there's no celery juice, there's no lemon water. I mean, there's lime, like what I would do is get my salad and put lime juice on top of it, right? There's no honey. So I would just put lime juice, because we cannot eat normal dressing. I was kind of trying to still follow my protocol. So I wouldn't put any dressing. I would just put lime juice on my whatever, beetroot and carrot or whatever they had, right? So what broke was, I can walk. I don't need the Anthony William protocol. And I can be healthy. I can be okay. Right? And I can walk a lot, because there's like a lot of walking, going to the beach, then you're walking back to the hotel, then you're doing this, then you're walking to the buffet or eating place, then you have to walk back. Like everything was not very close by. There's a lot of walking involved, right? So I walked and walked and walked and walked, and I asked one of my friends who is a chiropractor, I asked her, like I just said, can you give me, I made friends with her at the resort. I asked her, can you give me some advice? I have this calf pain. Why is it? And she said, you just need to walk every day 30 minutes. Right? The one thing that I was not doing, she asked me to do exactly that one thing. Right? And that's what I've been doing. Like now I do Sri Lakshmi and I, Vidya, we have this yoga thing. We do the yoga thing. Immediately I'll stop. Like when the sun goes down, it's really hot over here in Texas. Once the sun goes about to go down, I stop everything. I'll go for a walk, whether it's a 20-minute walk or 30-minute walk, whatever it may be. I've been so active after coming back. Like I'm a totally different person. And then one of the things I did during the retreat, Dr. Joe plays this testimonial, and that testimonial is available on YouTube, where a healer asks, oh, why can't I ask for healing for myself, right? And I said, okay, why can't I ask for a healing for my calves?
Right.
Right? Something happened during that healing. For the rest of the retreat, I had no pain whatsoever. And there were stairs. I had to, the ballroom is upstairs. I had stairs to climb down. I did not take the elevator. I would go down the stairs, run up the stairs, right from the beach. I would run up the stairs, run down the stairs, no pain whatsoever.
Nice.
It's that miraculous. It's that miraculous. So saying that we have to do Anthony William protocol, Patricia.
Yeah,
We can start with that. We can do the cleanse. I would recommend doing a cleanse. It's a 3-day or a 6-day or a 9-day cleanse. What I would say is take it or leave it. Try it. If it works for you, do it. Patricia and I, now our protocol is that every day we just do that protocol, right? That's one of the things we do. But
you're right, you not become a slave to it.
Exactly.
It's your preference, but if
Right.
circumstances like I went to Poland and I was not able to follow everything, I was able to do certain things, but it didn't really matter. I was still fine. It's the awareness of it that it's
Right.
your preference when you can, you feel
Do the
better.
protocol.
But if it doesn't, you still can function
Correct.
without it. So
Correct. Before you drop, I know it's getting late for you, Patricia, and you might have not even eaten dinner. So you go ahead and drop. But before you drop, one advice I wanted to give you, or public service announcement for everyone. One of the things we've started doing is being members of the Catalyst community with Inner Science Research with Dr. Joe. You can start with a $10 donation or $15 donation, very minimal donation. But the best thing they're doing is they're doing Count Your Blessings meditation. They have one on Sunday at 11, so 12 p.m. your time. And they have one on Wednesdays. So for the next 8 weeks, like this week, we are doing Count Your Blessings 1. Next week, we'll be doing Count Your Blessings 2. Please sign up. Please go
Can
to
you
their...
send us the info in our group, Poonam? Yeah, because I would love to. Share it.
It's just go to their website. Go to their website, Inner Science Research, and they're going to do a book club as well. So you'll have a sense of community, Patricia. Like-minded community. You'll become part of that community and build on that community, right? That'll be a good incentive.
I know it's a great thing because they also pick every time the meditation
They have a
happens.
monthly meditation. They have a monthly meditation as well.
And they pick up also a person to go to Dr. Joe's retreat,
Exactly.
so
Exactly. How wonderful is that? Right? So I want to tell Francesca, sign up. I'll send you all the link to Inner Science Research. Okay. With that, let me go to Wyatt. Wyatt, go ahead.
Thank you, Poonam, and to everyone today. Everything that I experienced on the call was, it underscored some wonderful things that happened between myself earlier today and my older sister. And the best part about living in the moment is that it happened because I shifted my focus away from my hate toward not her, but the people who I felt long ago didn't connect with me on a deep level. And I became the very thing I was against. And so today was a great example and a reminder to me of as soon as I shift my focus away from hate to love, everything shifted. I became more patient. I encouraged her to speak with me. And it was just a wonderful experience that went on for some time. And all that comes out of living a life in the moment, which is an ongoing meditation. I just want to say thank you for the call.
You want to share anything about what you learned today on the call?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Did you want to share anything about what you learned on the call? Anything about the question that was asked? Thank you.
Well, yes, I did. And it was in what was shared by Francesca and Patricia, and of course, Lakshmi. It's a mirror reflection that all I need to do is to change my focus, not to fight and resist anything. And then everything starts. It's not about how a tropical storm can stop being a tropical storm. It's really about the storm within me and how I can navigate that storm better. Make sense?
So I didn't quite hear what you said about your sister. What happened with your sister?
Oh,
What do you-
okay.
Sorry
Okay,
about that.
so yeah, so I've been spending a bit more time over there, and so I'll know that she's going to be okay. And then I realized something. I remembered that it's not my job to save anybody. Something you said to me many, many weeks ago. So it's not about lawyers. It's not about her going to an assisted living facility. It's about allowing myself and my reactions to see her as she is and focus on what's good, and to acknowledge when I'm hateful toward anyone that begins with myself, and to realize that the changing of my personality begins with my accepting what needs healing and not fighting against it and not finding fault with her or anybody else. And everything transcended several times today in the conversation. And I just kept watching how I was focusing away from shame and blame and projecting it from myself onto her and other people. That I don't need to do anything, I don't need to provoke people anymore. And I don't need someone else to be the scapegoat for my need to victimize myself. I don't need to victimize myself. So those are the things that happened on the call, in person with her. And when she told me how much she missed our dad, I found myself wanting for a few moments to change her and her missing him. And finally I said to her, Dad still lives inside you. And she told me about this wonderful experience before I showed up. And she's told it to me a few times. But instead, I had the enthusiasm and the warmth and the encouragement as if she had never told me before. And how a horse, after a Christmas parade in LA, this is back in the 1940s, after the war. So she was holding a carrot, and the horse came up and ate the carrot right out of her hand. And that was a joyful re-experience for her. And I'm thinking that what gives her joy is within her. And it's not my job to get in the way, criticize, or anything, but the exact opposite. And that really improved things between us. And however long she'll be able to do that, that's not up for me to decide. Just to be grateful that it could happen.
Incredibly amazing, Wyatt. Thank you so much for
Thank
sharing
you.
this.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. So grateful, eternally grateful. So remember, I think during group meditation, I said Eckhart talks about this healing modality by a psychotherapist called Rogers.
Go on.
It's called Rogerian therapy, where the therapist just is listening. Yeah, they're just listening. And the other person, the client, is just speaking, and they unravel themselves in the fact that this therapist is just a presence, a field of presence, listening.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's
the
what
fifth dimension.
that's what a Rogerian therapist does. The Rogerian therapist does not advise you. It doesn't unravel you or say, oh, focus on your inner child or anything of that sort. Nothing. They don't say anything. They're just a field of presence, and they allow that field to envelop the client. And let the
Carl
client...
Rogers, is that what the name was?
Yes. Look for Rogerian therapy.
Okay, I want to ask a quick question for clarity through your eyes. So I understood what you just said, what it isn't. Yet, are we not, as you mentioned a couple of phone calls ago, whatever we need to learn will just naturally present itself?
Correct.
And like the
in your...
smoke is coming out of us and it's just
Right.
dissipating in the air.
So in your relating your story, what you discovered is what you unraveled for yourself is no longer do I need to be a victim.
Yes.
Okay. So
yes,
you're getting out of the victim, you're letting go of the victim identity of your ego wanting you to be this, oh, my poor me, right? Oh, poor needy me. You're letting go of that. And you don't want your sister to empathize with you, right? And then...
Nor I with her.
Right. And then the fact that you let her be exactly like Eckhart says, the inevitability of the present moment.
Yep.
You accept it as though you chose it. So however she was, you accept it, that she's exactly, that is what it is, and I'm okay with it.
Yes.
You're showing another level, like a PhD level of acceptance.
Yes.
So
And,
that's all.
yeah.
That's all. That means you are being this field of presence. Just develop the field, and you'll see how much it will improve her, and how much all those triggers will go away.
Absolutely.
Right? So
that's beautifully said, and I'm grateful that you reminded me of it.
Beautiful. This was an incredibly amazing session. So thank you, everyone. I know we went for an hour and a half. I don't know how the time flew by today. And I actually want to go do my meditation since I didn't get a chance. I've been working all day. It's been a tiresome day. So, and Francesca is yawning. So with that, I would say thank you for choosing your divinity over your humanity. I am so eternally grateful to all of you. Many blessings. Much love. Have a fantastic week. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
Bye.
everybody.
Thank you.